Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Thank you very much for coming along to today's webinar. We're going to be talking all things TEFL. We're going to have a little Q&A afterwards as well. Just to give you a quick introduction, my name is Tom or Thomas, head TEFL coach at Precision TEFL. Thank you very much for showing up on time. We're just going to give the other people that have signed up maybe a minute to 90 seconds to arrive because not everyone is as punctual as you, but it's very much appreciated that you have showed up on time. Before I get started and to give people a chance to join us, I just want to do a quick mic and video check. So if everyone could please give me a quick thumbs up emoji or a yes message in the chat, whichever you prefer, just to make sure that I'm coming through okay. Very good. A couple of there. Oh, very good, very good. Thank you very much. Really, really appreciate that. And just to let you know where I am in the world, I am in a particularly sweltering hot Colombia today. That is where I live. That is where TEFL has taken me. But usually for these webinars, we have people connecting and listening in from all around the world. So I would love to know where you are listening and watching from. So again, please in the chats, write down, send it over where you are at the moment. It's always good to find out where people are based, where people are living, studying, working, and generally interested in TEFL. Let's take a look. Winchester, very nice part of the world. That's a particular Galway in Ireland, lovely. Glasgow, London, Edinburgh. This is a good mix. From London, but currently on holiday in Turkey. Excellent. Very, very nice place. I have been to all of these places apart from Galway and Ireland, which I do plan to visit very soon. Someone from about 2 hours from Glasgow, very rural. Okay, good. Well, hopefully your internet holds out. What a wonderful mix of places. And that's really, really fitting with everything that we're going to be talking about today, because TEFL really is a truly global experience. And that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. Just to give you an idea in terms of how things are going to work, I am going to be giving you a bit of a presentation, and then we are going to move into a Q&A. The Q&A has no limit on it. You are welcome to ask me absolutely anything and everything that comes to mind, whether it's about TEFL, my experience, the company that I work for, or anything else in general when it comes to the world of teaching English abroad or online. But first off, we are going to be just having a bit of a presentation, so there's no need for you to do anything other than just kind of pay attention and listen to what I'm saying. As and when something comes up that you would like to ask a question, please do write it in the chat. I will not be stopping to answer questions as I move through, because once I'm sharing my screen, I won't be able to see the chat, and it just generally kind of interrupts the flow. But I promise every single question that goes in the chat will be answered. So please make use of it. Please make sure that any bit of curiosity or anything that you want a bit of clarity, if I say something that's not clear, or maybe you'd like me to kind of dig down a bit deeper and explain a different way or give you a real life example, put it in the chat. I'm always really, really happy to answer questions. As I just mentioned, it is absolutely boiling today in Colombia. So I have got a fan on. I'm pretty sure it's not interrupting or doing anything bad to my microphone. But if for whatever reason there are any issues with the microphone or the video or the presentation, I need all of you to send me a sad-faced emoji all at the same time. Just bombard me with it, because that will come through once I'm sharing my screen. Messages in the chat won't, emojis will. So any issues with the sound, the video, the presentation, please do just hit me with those emojis. Otherwise, questions in the chat, Q&A coming up after this. For a moment, just get nice and comfortable. I'm going to share my screen. We'll do one final kind of video check, and then we'll be off and away. So again, thank you very much for coming along. Can I please just get some emojis to confirm that you're able to see my screen right now? Just a thumbs up emoji would be good. A thumbs up emoji from someone. There we go. There's some thumbs ups there. So here we go. On to the presentation. As I said, it's just going to be me talking for a little bit, and then the Q&A questions in the chat. It's taking a while. Let's do it again. There we go. So travel, teach, earn, and inspire. 4 key ingredients when it comes to TEFL and the world of teaching English. So we're going to be kind of touching on quite a few of these today. But first off, who am I? Right at the beginning, I gave a little bit of an, I'll give you a bit of Tom or Thomas, head TEFL coach at Precision TEFL. I have been teaching English since January 2018, so coming up to 8.5 years. I'm from the UK, as you can probably guess from my accent, but I have spent the most of the time in this wonderful industry living and working in Colombia. I've also spent some time working in Peru, and I've also enjoyed the luxuries of working as an English teacher online, which makes kind of enjoy some of those digital nomad privileges that come from that industry. I've been to 31 countries and counting, many more on my list to visit. And now I do still do a bit of teaching, but most of my energy is focused on helping people like you kickstart their TEFL journey and get from A to B in terms of getting TEFL qualified. What is TEFL? May seem like a strange question to ask for a TEFL focused webinar, but just in case there's any doubts, TEFL stands for Teaching English as a Foreign Language. It's an internationally recognized qualification. What I mean by this is that once you are TEFL qualified, you have a TEFL certificate, you are able to access teaching jobs all around the world. There is not a particular or a specific qualification for teaching English in China or in Japan or in Colombia. One certificate unlocks teaching opportunities in all of these countries. And the very good news is that it is a qualification that is valid for life. Once you have taken a TEFL course and you've got that certificate, there's no need to do any top-ups. You don't have to renew it. You don't have to do anything other than make use of it at a time that feels convenient for you. Some people spend a good portion of their lives working as an English teacher. Some spend just a few moments throughout their lives dipping in and out of this industry. It's totally up to you because it is valid for life. The great thing about TEFL is that it's open to people that have never taught before. That's to say, no previous teaching experience is required. One of the things that I'm going to talk about quite a lot during this presentation is the fact that there is an enormous demand for English teachers, which means people that come from non-teaching, non-education backgrounds that get themselves qualified as TEFL teachers are able to access TEFL jobs without too much stress and without employers looking for past experience to get them over the line. The great thing about TEFL qualification is it enables you to teach English around the world, teach online, and as well as that, teach English in your home country. Some of the countries that I know that people are listening from, places like Ireland, the UK. I'm not sure if we have anyone from the US or Canada today, but often we do. In those countries and other English-speaking countries, there are plenty of opportunities for TEFL teachers because there are plenty of people visiting or living in or studying in those countries that want to improve their English. So one qualification, internationally recognized, valid for life, and totally open to newbies. What is Precision TEFL? It's important that you understand the company that I'm representing as well. Precision TEFL is an accredited TEFL course provider. That's to say that our 120-hour TEFL course has been accredited by one of the UK's leading accreditation bodies. That's very, very important because it means that we didn't just create a course and put it out there on sale. No, we actually went through the very rigorous process of making sure that it was totally up to scratch and fits with all the expectations that both employers and potential TEFL teachers like yourselves would expect for a course that's going to give them a certificate that will be used to access the TEFL job market afterwards. We consider ourselves to be education specialists because we are a number of different people in the team. As I mentioned, I've got over 8 years of experience working in the TEFL industry. Other members of the team have worked in UK schools, and the director of the company worked for a number of decades for the UK Ministry of Defence, specialising in training and development, and as well as this course design. So all of that experience has been put together to create Precision TEFL. And we consider ourselves to be the only start to finish TEFL solution because we do not just give you access to a learning platform and a certificate and wave you goodbye. We actually go one step further and we provide a great deal of personalized and hands-on support to help all of our graduates in the pursuit of a job once they have graduated. Again, this is going to be things that I talk about a little bit later in the presentation. But of course, as I mentioned, if you have any questions about anything I'm saying, please do put it in the chat Q&A coming up. We're going to be going through every single question that is in the chat. Okay, my story. So before we get on to the TEFL world in general, I think it's important that you understand what has brought me here today. Why am I sat here in Colombia telling you all about TEFL? Well, as I mentioned, I'm from the UK. I spent a good part of my life living in London, working in the music industry. I was a record label manager at a drum and bass record label called Hospital Records, for any of you that like your electronic music. And even though it was a really great industry, really fun job, lots of traveling, parties, festivals, studio time, and just a really, really great thing to be involved with, I knew that it wasn't particularly sustainable. And it was really something that I wanted to move away from as I got a bit older. And by the time I left that industry, I was really kind of desperate for something different to get out of London, to even get out of the UK and just do something different. Fortunately, I discovered TEFL back in 2016. In 2017, I got TEFL qualified, and right at the beginning of 2018, I quit my job, came over to South America, did a bit of backpacking, and then started teaching. And since that point, I've gone on to work in both public and private schools, language institutes, private tutoring, online tutoring, and I now have my own private tutoring company here in Colombia, which I run on the side whilst doing my day job of working as the head TEFL coach at Precision TEFL. If I compare my life to what it was before I came to Colombia to what it is now, I'm now married, I own an apartment here in Colombia, I'm bilingual, thanks to having spent so many years in a Spanish-speaking country, and just generally in terms of the kind of emotional, professional, philosophical development, that has taken place during the last few years of being in this part of the world is day and night when I compare myself in terms of, who I was back then. And all of that is thanks to TEFL. Now, as I mentioned, it is absolutely roasting in my office, so I'm going to have to take a very quick sip of water. I'm afraid there's going to be a few of these, I think, in today's presentation. So whilst I do that, please just absorb some of the many great places that are on the screen in front of you. Very good. So, popular TEFL locations or destinations. This really is the magic, the fun bit of TEFL. As I mentioned, with that one qualification, you are able to access jobs in countries and continents all around the world. These are by no means the only countries that you can work in. I've just listed some of the popular spots, and we're going to go through these different regions one by one, starting off with Southeast Asia, a kind of classic, very well established TEFL region. This is a place that TEFL teachers flock to after finishing university, for example, and finishing their TEFL courses. Amazing weather, fascinating cultures, low cost of living, great food, basically the opposite of places like the UK, and a great place for first-time TEFL teachers to make inroads, get some experience, and just check out a really interesting and beautiful part of the world. In this part of the world, you're going to find teaching opportunities, everything from young children all the way up to high-flying business professionals. As I mentioned, the TEFL industry is very well established here, making it a very, very popular part of the world for first-time TEFL teachers. Moving on to Europe, a lot closer to home, if you're listening in the UK or Ireland. Lots of opportunities here for TEFL teachers. It's a continent where people are, eager to learn English as a second language. And one of the key features that you'll find in Europe, in addition to teaching opportunities in more traditional learning environments such as schools or play schools or language centers, is in Europe, you are going to find summer camps, which is pretty much exactly what it says on the tin. They are opportunities for language learners and TEFL teachers to get together during the summer, take part in fun activities, and crucially develop language skills. They're short-term contracts, 4 to 12 weeks, a great way to check out some countries in Europe, and a very, very popular option for people that like to kind of dip in and out of the TEFL world whilst doing other things. Latin America, a part of the world that I have absolutely fallen in love with. I traveled all over this continent whilst living and working in both Peru and the majority of my time here in Colombia. The TEFL industry is absolutely flourishing here. There is an enormous demand for TEFL teachers in this part of the world. Speaking specifically here about Colombia, I am regularly having to turn down work, whether that's people reaching out to me on LinkedIn or sending me emails or actually stopping me in the street. As crazy as that sounds, I have had that a number of times from institute owners and people that work at schools, just trying to see what my availability is. So many people here want to learn English. It opens the door to both education and work opportunities, both in and outside of their home country. And I'm going to be saying this a lot throughout this presentation. There simply aren't enough TEFL teachers to go around. They are spread out all over the world, and there are far more people looking to learn English than there are teachers available to teach them. So in countries like Colombia and the other countries in Latin America, the demand is so high that means that there are opportunities all over the country in different teaching environments, and a very good and flexible job market to enter for first-time TEFL teachers. The Middle East, a part of the world that isn't necessarily always associated with TEFL, but thanks to those economies generally doing very well, this is where TEFL teachers can go to get paid a very, very decent salary. I know that we sent out that question when signing up for this webinar. What would be your ideal place to work? I don't think anyone mentioned any countries in the Middle East, but it's always worth considering, particularly if you are looking to earn good money. And also check out a part of the world. As I said, the economies in that part of the world tend to be booming, and very, very interesting cultures as well to spend some time in and interact with. Finally, East Asia, countries like Japan, China, and South Korea, very, very popular spots for TEFL teachers. Again, very well established in terms of the industry and the infrastructure. Particularly in China and Japan and South Korea, TEFL teachers are looked after very well. It's not just about how much you are paid, but it is also about some of the benefits that come along with the contract. We'll be taking a look at that in a little bit during this presentation, but particularly in the case of China, this is where TEFL teachers are paid very, very well, and there is an absolutely enormous demand for English teachers. So to zoom out a little bit here, I will just return to something I was saying there in terms of the demand. It is something that I want every single one of you to take away from this webinar, that there simply aren't enough TEFL teachers qualified right now to satisfy the demand. There are more people looking to learn English than there are teachers available to teach all of those people spread out around the world, which means that entering this industry gives you the opportunity to pick and choose where you would like to work. You are not expected to accept the first job offer that comes your way when it comes to TEFL. Now, I know that seems quite strange. I have passed through this myself when I worked in the music industry. It was all about gaining experience. I spent 18 months working as an intern, desperately trying to make contacts and inroads just to be able to gain a little bit of experience to be able to make inroads in a highly competitive, saturated job market. When it comes to TEFL, it's absolutely the opposite. As I said, there's not enough teachers to go around. So TEFL teachers get to be picky. You get to decide, do you want to spend a year working in a particular country? Do you want to spend a few months working in a summer camp? Do you want to spend a few years moving from country to country, getting to know different countries and cultures, all off the back of having one single qualification? And as I said, it's totally up to you. There is no defined set path. It is totally down to you and what you want to get out of this experience. In my case, I have more or less relocated, or I have relocated. Now I live in Colombia, and this is where I call home. But I've met teachers that have spent the last 20 years moving all around the world, working in different countries and continents, soaking it all up and getting the very, very best out of the kind of cultural experiences that are on offer thanks to TEFL. But I also know people that dip in and out, do a bit of online teaching, or just use TEFL as a way to take a break, an interesting transition between higher education and work, an interesting sabbatical. All of it is out there, and it's down to you to pick and choose. I cannot emphasize that enough. Quick reminder, as I said, Q&A coming up. Questions in the chat. Questions in the chat. You're going to be sick of me saying that. There's almost like a few buttons that if you kind of push my chest, I'm almost inevitably going to say questions in the chat, and there's a high demand for English teachers. If we can take those as a given, maybe I don't have to repeat them so much, but I'm afraid I definitely will. Okay, the big wide world of TEFL. So we've looked at continents, countries, regions, parts of the world. All of that is on offer. But crucially, we need to think about what types of places you may go on to work in, because one of the annoying myths that's maybe associated with TEFL is that TEFL equals teaching in high school. That absolutely is a possibility. I've done it. I had a very good time. I learned a lot, but it's not for everyone. So if you are interested in teaching a particular type of student, or interested in avoiding a particular type of student, don't worry. There are so many different places out there when it comes to teaching English that you are not expected to work in a place that doesn't really suit you. If you are more interested in teaching business professionals, you can guarantee that there are places out there where you can work. English is the world's #1 language. The demand is so high. It's not just a particular age group or section of society. You have young kids all the way up to people who are pensioners who are learning English for a hobby, high flying business professionals, students looking to study in English speaking countries, and everything in between. So you can more or less think of what your ideal student looks like and then pick a teaching or a learning environment where they will be and where you are able to then go on and teach them. I put up on the screen a few examples there, but these are not all of them. Again, don't worry. At this point, you're not expected to commit to a particular country or commit to a particular place that you want to work in. As I've said, I've worked in a number of different places. I've taught loads of different age groups, different backgrounds, different types of student. And that's another great thing about this industry. You have the freedom to experiment, try out things that you and work out who, where, when, and how much you want to work, and kind of find the exact scenario that you want to find yourself in. Again, it's not like other industries. This is a very, very flexible industry where generally TEFL teachers have a lot of purchase power and ability to really pick and choose the experience that they want to get. Of course, as I mentioned, if you were to study with us, working out your first step is something that we would absolutely help you with. As I said, we don't just give people a certificate. We do go one step further and actually give very personalized guidance and support when it comes to finding your first job. So if you're unsure about the type of place you want to work in or the type of student you want to teach, don't worry, we would be there to help you work that out. Okay, why you should TEFL. So I've probably touched on a few things there that have inspired you, but just in case, let's dig into it a bit deeper. Yes, you get to travel the world, but crucially, it is a productive way to see the world. I have done a lot of backpacking. I've been on a lot of holidays. I've traveled a lot. But there's one thing that you cannot escape if you are backpacking for a long time or on an extended holiday, that after a while, things do get a bit boring. The lack of structure, the lack of routine, the lack of purpose tends to take the shine off the experience. The amazing thing about TEFL is you get to go to a place and there's a reason for you to be there. You have the ability to interact and integrate into the local society and community, which gives you a far better chance of actually getting a feel for what life is really like in that country and getting to know people. You're not just stuck in a hostel having the same conversations. You travel to the other side of the world. I've done this. I've gone to the Philippines to walk into a into a hostel, and sure enough, there's someone from Brixton in London, the exact part of London that I was living in. So I went all the way to the other side of the world to talk to someone who lived down the street from me. Not always the best. With TEFL, you can get the chance to really meet interesting different people and integrate and have a bit of purpose. Get up in the morning, know why you're there, and crucially, that makes your time off in these countries way more enjoyable because there's that balance between structure and purpose, and then free time, and really getting the experience that you want. A lot of the countries that I've mentioned are considered to be low cost of living in comparison to places like the UK and Ireland. To give you an example, I know I mentioned that I bought an apartment, but here in Colombia, before my wife and I bought this apartment, we were living in a very nice place on the other side of the city, 3 bedrooms, balcony overlooking a park, really spacious, really lovely place. And we were paying just over £200 a month in terms of rent. Where on earth in the UK or Ireland or wherever else in developed Western countries would you be able to find rent that cheap? So it's not about just being paid well, it's also how that matches up to the cost of living that the country that you are in. It's not the case for all of the countries. Again, we're able to advise on this. When it comes to TEFL, some people want the experience, some people just want to, save up a stack of cash. Some people want the best of both worlds. All of those answers, situations, preferences, and goals are absolutely valid and viable, and we will be there to help you kind of work that out. But the good thing to know is that when it comes to TEFL, there is the option to earn decent money in low cost of living countries. The freedom to choose your own path. I've touched on this a little bit. You're not expected to work in a particular place for a particular number of hours for a particular amount of time. It's totally up to you. If you want a full-time job working 40 hours a week, there are teaching jobs out there. If you want to work just 10 hours a week or 15 hours a week, there are also teaching jobs out there that enable you to do that. If you want to do online teaching for just 4 or 5 hours a week whilst you're studying a master's degree, again, that is an option. Totally up to you. All of it starts with a TEFL certificate, and then you get to pick and choose and make it fit for you. Personal and professional development, again, something that I mentioned at the beginning of this in terms of like how you develop and how you grow in the TEFL industry, teaching, interacting with people, planning lessons, managing a classroom. They draw on a number of different skills and sub skills. All of them get developed. Many things that you were good at before, you will get to refine in this industry, and things that maybe that you haven't had to do before, you will then get to develop. So if you're in the TEFL industry for just 6 months to a year, sure enough, you will grow and develop, and you will notice these changes, and they will be things that you carry on to things and other aspects of your life. Contract benefits and bonuses, I'm going to save that for a moment. We've got a few things coming up in the presentation where we'll look at that in a bit more depth, but the key thing to know is it's not just about good salaries. As I said, it's very, very competitive when it comes to schools actually getting you to work for them because of the shortage of TEFL teachers. So it's not just about good salaries. There are also some very, very good benefits that come along with teaching contracts in the TEFL industry. Okay, TEFL, the low risk lifestyle. I will just quickly show you on the left hand side of the screen there a few clips from an English club that I run here in Ibagué, the city that I live in Colombia. This is something that's absolutely free, something that I just do in a local cafe. It's open to all ages and abilities, and we tend to pack the place out and just do some kind of fun games and get people chatting. Another great thing that you get to do when it comes to TEFL, it's not just about your job. There's so many people out there that are interested in practicing and learning English. It's a very easy way to make friends. Just getting out there, you're almost guaranteed to meet people that want to practice with you. And if you're open to doing things like this, great way to develop your own social network on the other side of the world. But back to the main topic here, low risk lifestyle. So the idea, maybe if you're not from an education or a teaching background, of entering the world of TEFL, it feels unfamiliar. It may feel risky. The idea of a teaching job on the other side of the world, or teaching a student online that's based on the other side of the world, might sound a bit risky. But as I have said and will continue to say, the demand for English teachers is so high. The ability to find a job, or the risk associated when it comes to finding a job, rather, is so much lower. You are able to pick and choose where you want to work, and first-time teachers don't meet the same kind of resistance or brick walls that often people do when they are starting off in a new industry. Another great thing about TEFL is that it's a very good plan B. It's something that I didn't really tell you when I talked about how I came into this industry, but it was by no means my destiny to fall in love with teaching and languages and everything that I do now. For me, TEFL was just a backup plan. I knew that I didn't want to leave the music industry without something to turn to if I needed some money. And sure enough, after a couple of months of backpacking in Colombia, I started to get a bit bored of the routine, but I also got a bit bored of seeing my bank balance go down so quickly. So I whipped out my TEFL certificate, looked for a job, and sure enough, within 2 days, I was able to start work. 2 days. That enabled me to stabilize my finances, get a feel for the new world that I was about to enter, and generally just kind of think about what I wanted to do next. I really enjoyed teaching. I really enjoyed the fact that I wasn't hemorrhaging cash anymore, and that enabled me to then decide what my next move was going to be. I decided to accept a teaching job in Peru. So after working for some time in Colombia, I went off to Peru. All of that made possible and funded by TEFL. Another great thing about the TEFL industry and TEFL in general is it looks very, very good on your CV. You should never underestimate just how well established TEFL is as an industry and as a concept. People outside of the TEFL industry are familiar with it as a pathway. So it looks very, very good on your CV, even when applying for non-education types of jobs or higher education. And it's a great way to fill gaps. One thing that is inevitable if you go into an interview and you've taken some time off to go backpacking, even though that's a very fulfilling experience, there is naturally a gap on your CV that leads to questions, and it means you have to justify why that experience was important. If you're able to incorporate traveling into and mix it with something productive like TEFL, That is generally looked at very favorably when it comes to reviewing CVs. People look at it, they understand what you were doing, they understand the skills and the attributes and the characteristics that are associated with that industry. They understand that you were doing something productive rather than something maybe a bit more kind of hedonistic. And that's generally looked at very favorably by employers and people in terms of higher education. So if you're interested in traveling but concerned about gaps in your CV, again, TEFL might be a good move for you. And finally, it's something that you are able to combine with other jobs and studies. It's not all about committing to TEFL for the rest of your life. It's something that I have done, but it's something that also continues to develop. But I know a lot of people that dip in and out of this industry. They use it as a way to travel. They use it as a way to earn extra income by working as a private tutor, either online or by teaching people in person. Whatever it is, it's something that you are able to combine. There is no set rule in terms of the number of hours per week you have to work or the amount of time that you have to spend in this industry. Okay, so before I do this, I'm just going to quickly show you your website. I'd like everyone to note this one down. ESLcafe.com or Dave's ESL Cafe. Very popular, trusted job board when it comes to TEFL. Well worth taking a look at it because one thing, listen to me, talk about TEFL like it's the best thing since sliced cheese. But you need to take a look at this job board to see actually really what's out there. If you head over to this part here where it says find a job, you'll see there's an international job board, a Korean job board, and a China job board. So many opportunities in these two countries that they've earned themselves their own pages. But we're going to take a look at the international one for a moment because seeing is believing. On the right hand side, you will see dates that the jobs are posted. As you can see here, today's date is up 20th of May, 20th of May, 20th of May, 19th, 18th, so on and so forth. And on the left hand side, you will see different opportunities that have been posted. So let's just take a quick look. ESL teacher, it's another popular way of saying TEFL teacher. That one in Taiwan, another one here. Very common to see teaching programs, a number of different countries mentioned here: Japan, South Korea, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, and others. Hong Kong, this one again, South Korea, Indonesia, Dubai, Thailand, Panama. I mean, it's well worth taking a look at this because it kind of gives you an idea of really what is out there, the variety of different teaching jobs. Spain, Honduras, very, very good. Lovely variety. Teaching, summer camps, there we go here. This one not in Europe, in fact, this one in New York City, Miami, and Los Angeles. So a great opportunity to spend some time in the United States if that is what floats your boat. All of that can be found on this website. I really recommend taking a look at the different salaries, the different benefits that are offered. You will see that there are places where you are paid more. There are places where you are paid less. Good to get a feel for it. Good to get the ideas flowing at this point. So early on in your TEFL career and your TEFL journey, playing with ideas is absolutely fun and acceptable. I still regularly kind of lose myself in job boards just thinking about all the different places I could go to. But yes, for the moment, still in Colombia. I'm very, very happy here, but I would recommend for those of you that have the absolute freedom to pick and choose, Dave's ESL Cafe. It's a good place to look at once you have finished listening to me. Q&A coming up. Going to move through these quite quickly because I'm aware that we want to get onto the queue. Sure, there's lots of questions. So you do put them in the chat. Every single one will be answered. Just going to quick look at the screen here, just because I think you can really read it quicker than I can say it. But just taking a look at it from that website, as you will see here in Taiwan, we have a decent salary. You also have other things that make up the package, like a flight reimbursement. Very, very common. Employers pay for your flights to go home at the end of the contract. And typically the flights that you use to head over there, providing that you see out your contract, that money gets reimbursed. It's very, very common to see things like health insurance, contract completion, bonuses, decent holiday packages, particularly here in Taiwan. And as you can see here, living costs versus your monthly salary, a very, very good opportunity to save. And one thing that I did not actually point out, very common for employers in certain parts of the world to offer you an accommodation allowance. They either put you up in in an apartment that they own, or they give you some money towards your rent. So providing that you play it steady and don't blow your cash on the first weekend, a good opportunity to not just live a comfortable lifestyle, but also save some money as well. Another example from that job board that I've taken from China, as you can see, significantly higher salary here, only 20 to 25 teaching hours per week. Again, it's not all about 40 teaching hours. You will see a complete range of different teaching hours when you go on these job boards. You have the opportunity to really get loads of experience and work lots and lots of hours, like a full-time 40-hour-a-week job in the UK, or you can do some part-time work. Again, all of it's out there. It's just about picking and choosing the one that you want. And as you can see, again, living costs versus the monthly income, again, very, very favorable. A great opportunity to check out China, fascinating country, whilst earning good money and also saving some money as well, if that is what you are looking to do. Final one for the UAE. I will be honest and upfront in saying that this is a job offer that is for teachers with minimum of 2 years experience, but I promise you 2 years pass very quickly. You're able to head off to all the different countries that I've mentioned already to gain that experience. And then if you want to go to a place like the UAE and earn a very decent pay package, particularly taking into account that it is tax-free and there's a housing allowance with it, well, after 2 years, you will be able to access those jobs. And even though I know in Dubai, you can spend ridiculous amounts of money base jumping in Ferraris, if you play it steady, you are able to actually bring your living costs down, especially due to the fact that the school would be paying for your for the place that you're staying. So good income versus relatively low cost, good opportunity to enjoy a very, very particular part of the world and save some money whilst you're doing it. Remember, Dave's ESL Cafe, worth taking a look at just to get a feel for all the different types of contracts and job offers that are out there. And also a reminder, as I said, all of our graduates, every single person that studies with us, once you have graduated and finished the course, we will then give you personalized guidance and support when it comes to picking and choosing your first job. I will give you a bit more information about that. We are coming more or less to the end of this presentation. Thank you for sticking with it. There's just a little bit more to go through now. So TEFL is a digital nomad or an online English teacher. Great thing about the TEFL industry right now is, even though the COVID-19 pandemic was definitely not so great, one of the good things that did come out of it when it comes to teaching is that due to the conditions that were in place during that period of time, both teachers and students realized that teaching English online or learning English online is very convenient. Teachers are able to design very personalized class for their students, thanks to the fact that they have the internet at their fingertips. And a lot of students really, really like the flexibility and the convenience that comes with online learning. That's, of course, due to the fact that if you wake up in the morning and you want to teach, well, that could be someone else's afternoon or evening. You're not just stuck to one particular time zone. So you are able to access not just the local market, but in fact, the world's market when it comes to teaching students online, which makes for a very fascinating experience and also means you have complete flexibility. During my time as an online English teacher, I've taught people from India, from Brazil, from Switzerland, from Germany, from France, from Mexico, from China, from Japan, all over the world. And I've been able to match that up to my own schedule and then, do things that I want to do at particular times and then earn the money that I need to earn to keep the lights on at a time that is convenient for me. The great thing as well about being an online teacher is that you get to specialize and bring any experience or specialist knowledge that you have into this industry. What I mean by that is that not everyone out there is looking to learn general English, i.e. English for everyday use. Some people want to learn very specific English for very specific needs. I always give the example of a fitness instructor. There may be a fitness instructor out there that wants to learn English to go and work as a fitness instructor in the United States. Well, if you come from a fitness instructor background, who better than you to teach that person? Because not only will you have the skills to teach English, but you also know all about that industry, the popular terms and trends that are associated with it. And that means that you are able to charge very good rates as a specialist teacher. Again, that is something that I have done personally, and as part of that job finding support that we provide for all of our graduates, anyone looking to get set up as a private tutor or a specialist teacher, that's absolutely something that we are able to help you with. Before I move on, I will just quickly point your direction here to this lovely zebra that we've got on the screen. This has got nothing really to do with being a digital nomad, but it is evidence that our online TEFL course can be taken from anywhere in the world. We had someone taking our course last year that was really desperate to not lose momentum. So even though she was on safari in Africa, she decided to take her laptop, and she sent me loads of pictures of her taking our course right next to a herd of zebras. So a very, very surreal morning for us, but some great pictures. So there you go, proof that it can be accessed from anywhere in the world. Okay, Q&A coming up. Q&A coming up. Questions in the chat. Questions in the chat. But before that, let's talk about the process, because we're talking about lots of different ideas here. Time to tie it all together. First step, if you would like to enjoy all the different things that I have mentioned, is to get a TEFL certificate. I would highly recommend our 120-hour accredited online TEFL course. There are many other TEFL providers out there. It is, of course, up to you to take a look at them and decide which one you think is best to you, but I would highly recommend ours. It is 100% online and self-paced, meaning that you are able to work through it at your own rate, 4 hours a week, 4 hours a month. Whatever it is that you want to put in, you are absolutely free to do that in terms of the time. There's no deadline, so we're not on your back telling you that you have to complete it within a few months. No, it's absolutely up to you how long you take to complete it. Some people take 4 to 5 weeks. Some people take a year, or sometimes even over a year. For us, it's absolutely no problem. It's totally up to you how quickly you work through it. The course is made up of a range of different learning materials, interactive video classes, audio lectures, multimedia, text-based classes. All of it's on there to keep the learning experience fresh and interesting. And the course gives you all the skills, techniques, and knowledge you need to competently and confidently teach English as a foreign language. It may feel unfamiliar at the moment, but I promise you, you do not need to be concerned of the fact that you don't speak your students' language or you've never taught anything before. All of that is presented to you and taught to you during the TEFL course. The key thing about TEFL is that we use English as the teaching tool. It doesn't matter if you are in Bangkok or Bogota, Colombia, you use your TEFL skills and knowledge to teach English. It's not about knowing your student's language, and that is something that we train you to do during our course. Once complete, we then guide you from graduation to employment. I will be very, very clear. We do not find you a job or guarantee you a job. That is something that you have to do and only you can do, because we are not an employer or a recruiter. But we do take a lot of time and put in a lot of effort to make sure you have all the knowledge and guidance that you need. So, for example, we will speak with you and decide help you decide what kind of place is right for you, what type of student you want to teach, and then we will go away and do some research and get back to you and tell you exactly what you should expect, what kind of documents you need to prepare, what you should expect from the visa process, and how long it might take. In some countries, it's just a few days. In some countries, it may be a few months. It's very, very important you know that before you set your heart on a particular place and hand in your notice at work or tell your landlord you're moving out. You need to know that information, and that's something we'll give you. Same goes for what's a good contract versus a bad contract. What type of questions should you be asking in your job interview to make sure this place is right for you? All of that is absolutely personalized, absolutely based on your individual goals, and that is something that we do for every single one of our graduates. Finally, travel, teach, and inspire. I mentioned it right at the beginning of the presentation. Once you are off and on your way, it's then down to you to head off and enjoy all the great things associated with this industry. I will skip over that. I think if you want to ask any more questions about the job finding support, I will happily give you some more information in that in the Q&A. But just to move it along a bit, some key questions. I'm going to touch on two of these here. Impacts. One of the things I haven't really touched on is just how much impact you can make in different people's lives. I always say that TEFL is putting good vibes into the world, because you are teaching someone something that will enable them to better themselves. English is the number one language. If you learn English and are able to speak English, you are able to connect with billions of people around the world. You are able to speak a language and use a language that is the number one language in things like tourism, hospitality, science, sport, medicine, and a range of other things. You get to play a crucial and pivotal role in someone's personal and professional development just by being a teacher. So you are having a very, very positive impact, leaving a positive mark, a positive footprint on this world. You get up every day, you know why you're doing it, you know the benefits, you know that you're putting, as I say, good vibes and good energy into the world by being a TEFL teacher. It gives you that sense of purpose. It is meaningful. You know exactly what are the results of your hard work. And that really is the fuel, I think, for a lot of people once they realize just how great working as a TEFL teacher is. Quick one, just we are really just about 90 seconds away here from finishing the presentation and onto the Q&A. Take the leap. I would highly recommend that you do this. If you're curious about TEFL, I've been there myself. I know what it feels like. I know the doubts. I know the uncertainties. Hopefully, I've managed to reduce some of the uncertainties and anxieties that come about when maybe moving into something that's unfamiliar. If I had known about all the benefits and great opportunities out there, I would have absolutely entered this world a hell of a lot sooner. And, I hope here that I've managed to inspire you to get involved. If you're 50-50 on the fence, I would highly encourage you to take the leap. You will not regret it. And even though this is a humpback whale, which has nothing to do with teaching, this is actually a photo that my wife took whilst whale watching here on Colombia's Pacific coast. So once you're out of the classroom, you do get to do some pretty cool things as well. There's some amazing adventures and nature spots and just great things out there waiting for you. TEFL often is the key to unlocking all of that. Okay, well, thank you very much. We have come to the end of this presentation. We're going to move on to the Q&A now. I will just quickly say that your reward for listening to me talk for the last 40 odd minutes or so, God, it's gone on a bit, is that we are offering to people that have attended this webinar, exclusively to people that have attended this webinar, a special discount to access our accredited 120-hour online TEFL course. Using the the code TEFL Passport 150, you are able to reduce the price, £349 all the way down to £199. So it's a great way to get TEFL qualified and to save yourself some money during the process. This is going to be available for the next 7 days. This is something that we only do for people that attend the webinar. You're never going to see flash discounts or January sales on our website. We don't do that. All of this, the only discount that we offer is for people attending the webinar. So if you are interested in getting TEFL qualified, you can find out more about our company, precisiontefl.com. You are welcome to contact me at contact@precisiontefl.com. And don't worry about jotting all of this down. After this webinar, you will receive an email with sign-up instructions and the discount code that will enable you to sign up in just a few minutes. And as I said, this £150 discount will be available for the next 7 days. So a great opportunity to unlock all of the things that I've mentioned and save yourself some money as well. Just a quick one. We are on all of the usual platforms. So Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, even though I cannot bring myself to look at it myself, YouTube. You can find us on those platforms. We tend to put up some interesting content. So it's good to stay connected with us if that is the kind of thing that you are interested in. Okay, time for you to ask me anything, Q&A. So please do write your questions in the chat. Every single question that's in there will be answered. And just once again, thank you for coming along today. And hopefully, thank you very much for the things that are in the chat. Let's see how we get on. Okay, let's get into this. By the way, whilst I'm going through this now, if something comes up, I say something, you are welcome to put more questions in the chat. I have no need to rush off after this, and I will answer every single question that is in the chat. Okay, let's get into this. So, Mia or Maya, how easy was it for you to move to Colombia in terms of visas and finding somewhere to live? Very, very good question. It was remarkably easy. when you're unfamiliar with things like visas or moving abroad, all of this is just, I understand it's very hazy and you can't really kind of imagine the pathway or how things work. But for employers, bringing TEFL teachers over to work with them, they are very familiar with the visa laws. They are very familiar with the visa procedures, what's required, the documentation, and the general process. So I was able to get my first working visa in Colombia sorted in about 2 or 3 weeks. The process was handled by the school or the employer. That is generally in the vast majority of cases how it works, because you are employed, you are subject to local laws and regulations, and visas are part of that. So the school will handle your visa application. You just need to know what to get ready and what documents to have on hand, and whether they need to be translated or legalized. As I mentioned, we give guidance on all of that. But when it comes to my personal experience in Colombia, it was very, very easy. And in terms of finding a place to live, the owner of the company that I was working for, he helped me find a place to live and set me up with the apartment. And then it was just about me paying rent from my monthly paycheck. Again, even though it may be unfamiliar to you, these schools, these employers have probably been doing this for quite a long time. They probably worked with a number of different teachers during that time. So they're very familiar with the needs of the teachers. They want you to stick around. They don't want you to disappear or to have a bad time. So they know, finding a place to live is going to be one of the basic things they need to help you with. Some places will give you more hands-on support than other. For example, some places, as I mentioned, may have their own apartment, rather, that they just simply give you the keys to. Some may actually go out and help and go looking with you. They'll have a member of staff do that. Others will have a kind of pre-prepared list of landlords, and they'll kind of, have some options for you to pick from. It depends from place to place. But the one thing that you should really know is very, very rare to find yourself in a situation where you accept a job, get the visa, and then turn up and there's not someone there to help you integrate. Most of these places have dedicated staff members, HR people that help you through that process. In my case, in Colombia, it was very, very straightforward. And by the way, one thing I should mention for any of you that are maybe interested specifically when it comes to teaching in Colombia, on the 3rd of June at the same time as this webinar, 7 p.m. UK time, we have a TEFL in Colombia webinar. It's all about teaching English in Colombia, and a particular pathway and program that we actually have established here in Colombia. You can find that on our website. The link will be going up very soon. And if anyone's interested in that, wants to find out more, they can also drop me an email and I'll happily share the link for that. But in general terms, when it comes to finding a place in visas, it's actually a bit more straightforward than you'd imagine, even though it may be unfamiliar at the moment. Next question. Is it difficult to find employment teaching online? Would we have to find our own students? Good question to ask. So there's two different pathways when it comes to online teaching. Working for an established platform, just think of it like there are physical schools, there are also online schools. Those schools will take the burden off you in terms of finding your own student, accepting payments, organized schedules, pre-prepared materials, curriculum, all of that. And often they will have their own kind of teaching platform and suite that you simply log on to and teach the class, often with very little preparation, because they want you to stick to the pre-approved materials that they have. So that's one option. The good thing about that is it's kind of relatively low stress, because you don't have to worry about finding students, turn up and teach. But of course, the pay is maybe slightly lower than you would get as an independent teacher, because naturally a company is going to take a slice of the fee that they're charging to the student. Alternatively, if you set yourself up as a private tutor, then yes, it is absolutely down to you to find your own students. That might sound intimidating at the moment. Some people may be a bit unsure about how that would work, but actually it's a lot easier than you would imagine, simply due to the fact, that the demand is so high. We give very, very structured and personalized guidance for people that want to work as online teachers. It's something that I did for a number of years as a private tutor. As I mentioned, I have my own private tutoring company here in Colombia. Most of my students are online. So if that's something you are interested in doing and you really want to make sure that you have full control and take 100% of the income, well, that's something we can definitely help you with as well once you are graduated. Next question. What are the baby steps of online teaching, and where should we find students? In terms of baby steps, I wouldn't necessarily look at them as baby steps, but they're things that you need to be aware of. Simple things like making sure you have the right equipment and the right place to teach, good internet connection, quiet place you're not going to be interrupted, a computer that's not going to crash halfway through, good microphone and headphones, kind of fairly standard stuff. Also making sure that you have a schedule that works for you. All of these different things get taken into account. When it comes specifically to finding students, there are a number of different ways. Depending on where you're living and where you kind of find yourself at the time, there's a number of different avenues. For example, if you're in a non-English speaking country, well, it's putting up some adverts locally, spreading the word amongst your friends, uh, going to universities, handing out some leaflets or some flyers, some old school, promotion. It's not all just about social media. That can kind of get the ball rolling. One of the advantages I have as an online teacher living in Colombia is that I am in the place where, there's a lot of people looking to learn English. So I only have to mention it to one of my friends, one of my wife friends, and that tends to spread. And eventually people come to me. If you're an English speaking country, there are plenty of places where you will find people from non-English speaking countries that maybe are looking to learn English, particularly places again like universities. Some advertising can be done there, and you could set yourself up for some online classes. And there are also other ways like LinkedIn and other cold outreach methods that you can use to find students. Again, depending on the type of student that you want to teach and where you are in the world, will influence which one of those you lean on more than the other. Again, just to repeat, you wouldn't be doing that alone. If you are interested in getting set up as a private online tutor, we would be able to give you some really, really hands-on and very specific guidance, thanks to the fact that I've done it for so many different years. And of course, if you're concerned about that, a good maybe baby step to take when it comes to online teaching would be to work for one of the platforms at first, find your feet, get used to the general setup and routine of an online teacher. The company you're working for would send you the students to teach, and then you can kind of get used to it. And then if you're ready to transition to finding your own students or something that you do at the same time, that is an option. Again, all of that guidance is definitely something we'd be able to help you with. These are really great questions, by the way. Please do keep them coming and in the chat. As I said, I've no need to rush off, so anything that goes in even now, I'm happy to answer. Ben is saying, interested in all these online questions above. Good. Hopefully I ticked those boxes. If not, then please do let me know. To add my own, if you teach online, do you tend to work for the rate of your own country, e.g. UK, or the country where your students are, likely less than the UK? Fantastic question. And it's one of the great things about this is that because you've got a worldwide market, you are able to target students in countries where they're able to pay you more money. For example, there's a certain amount, there's kind of a limit as to how much I can charge someone in Colombia, because the Colombian economy is, as it is at the moment, it's a developing country. But there are many places around the world with very, very good economies, strong economies, where people are able to pay a bit more, or in some cases, a lot more, particularly if you're helping them solve a specific problem. Ben, if you're really, really interested in making good money from online teaching, one of the recommendations that I would give you is exam preparation. It's maybe not as fun or as personalized as some other online teaching that you can do, or specialist teaching that you can do. But people, when it comes to passing exams, they want to pass that exam because that exam usually unlocks something beyond it. And they see you as a means to an end, and they are more than happy to invest good money in your knowledge as a teacher, helping them pass that exam. That is something that I have done a number of times where I've needed to pay for something and I just needed to earn some quick money. I've just opened up a few slots on my calendar specifically for exam preparation. People are looking to get a scholarship at a UK university or looking to study a master's in a UK university. Those people tend to pay a bit higher, even if they're in developing countries like Colombia. The goal on the other side is so great that they're usually prepared to spend a bit of extra money on those classes. So it's not just thinking about what's a standard rate in the UK, because it's a global market. So you actually need to think, what do I want to be paid? What do I need to be paid to keep the lights on, first and foremost? What do I want to be paid to make this worthwhile for me? What do I feel I should be paid if you're using specialist knowledge, as I said, you're doing English for fitness instructors, or English for pilots, or English for data scientists, English for tennis players, whatever it might be. If you've got specialist knowledge, you should charge specialist prices. And again, exam preparation, that is where there's very, very good money for online teachers to make. Just to repeat one more time, if any of that is of interest to anyone out there and they would like that extra guidance as part of the graduate support that we provide, that is absolutely something that we would help you do and get stuck into. So thank you, Ben, for that question. By all means, throw in a follow-up if you would like to find out more. Quick sip of water. As a reminder, I'm in a roasting office at the moment, so please just let me take a quick sip here. Does age factor into the quality of your TEFL certificate? I'm a student. Would my qualification be perceived as less desirable to employers in comparison to those who have been TEFL acquired for longer? So what you're talking about here, Holly, is not so much about age, but just experience and how that's perceived, the way I'm kind of looking at this. So certain countries, as I mentioned, for example, in the UAE, they want a minimum of 2 years experience. Okay, that is something in that country they feel that they're able, because it's a relatively small place, they're able to set that threshold. In a big country like China, well, I can promise you, think of the population of China, there's definitely not a billion or over a billion TEFL teachers out there. Just simply not. So in that case, they can't set the threshold so high because it would be impossible to satisfy the demand of just that one country. So that is why first-time teachers find it so easy to access this industry. I know it sounds strange. I've been there myself, as I said, in the music industry. I know that in the UK or Ireland, it's that kind of frustrating, never-ending feedback loop of you've just come out of university, you haven't got any experience, you apply for a job and they say minimum experience 1 year, and you think, how on earth are first-timers meant to get on the ladder in this industry? That is not the case when it comes to TEFL. Their demand is so high that first timers are hired. I promise you, you will see that a lot on the job board that I showed you. So I wouldn't worry too much about the fact that you are a student and how that will be perceived. The fact, Holly, that you are studying at what I would guess, based on the signups for this webinar, that you're studying at a UK or an Irish university, that is going to be a massive green tick next to your name, and the fact that you're TEFL qualified is just going to help you access those jobs. So yes, don't worry so much about lack of experience or the fact you may be 20, 21. I guess that would be the youngest you would be coming out of a UK university or an Irish university. Don't worry. That's not something that's going to be really an obstacle for you when it comes to finding a job in the TEFL world. Next one here. What is the difference between Precision TEFL courses and the TEFL.org courses? Okay, so this is something that I mentioned. There are a number of different competitors out there. You will find a whole range of prices when it comes to the TEFL industry. There are some TEFL providers that charge 20, 30 pounds for a TEFL course. They sell it on Groupon. You can probably guess, not that it's not my place to critique or criticize other TEFL providers. I prefer to talk about ourselves. But if you see a £30 TEFL course, £50 TEFL course, £100 TEFL course, you can probably guess the quality of it. And there's a good chance that it's either not going to be accredited, or it's accredited by an accredited company that isn't really worth the ink on that stamp. Accreditation is very important. Employers look at it. They want to make sure that your TEFL course is tied to an accrediting body that they can look at and go, oh yes, this is a real course. Hence why we went through the process of getting our course accredited by one of the UK's leading accrediting bodies. Our course is one of them. In compared to some of the other providers, you will see us in terms of price, we are one of the top end prices, maybe. The reason for this is simply that we believe in the quality of our course, and we also believe in the amount of time, energy, love, and effort that we put into supporting all of the people that take our course. We are not just going to give you login details and then wait for you to finish and send you a certificate at the end of it. In fact, you will find that during our course, you'll be regularly interacting with us. There are one-to-one online video call coaching sessions with me or another TEFL coach to help you go over particular parts of the course at different parts, strategically at different moments during the course. And in addition to this, as I said, something that we do and that really sets ourselves apart from other TEFL providers is that we provide that job finding support on the other side of it, something that a lot, I would hasten to say most, probably is most, but a lot of other TEFL providers simply don't do. So that is why you will see our price when compared to some other TEFL providers being we're a bit more expensive. However, as I said, exclusively for webinar attendees, we do offer that discount, £349 down to £199. So you get all of that support during and after graduation, and you get it at a reduced rate, and that's available for the next 7 days. As I said, that's something that you will receive in an email once we finish with the Q&A. How do you support neurodivergent people taking your course? As I kind of touched on there, Daniel, we do everything to support every single person that takes our course. Every different need or requirement is taken into account, and we will do our very best to adapt to it. Whilst I understand the term neurodivergent, I think that is something that takes shape in a number of different ways. If you would like to give me a bit more specific information, I'll write my email in the chat here. You will, as I said, receive an email, but I'm just going to put it in the chat anyway. If you want to drop me an email, Daniel, and you'd like to discuss this offline, and we can discuss about how we could support you specifically and any specific requirements that you might have, be more than happy to do that. But we've done everything to make our platform as accessible as possible, our support as immediate and flexible as possible. And that's something that we, as I said, we put a lot of love and energy into. So Daniel, please do drop me a message and we can talk about this more offline. Next question. Do you recommend any organizations or schools to apply to? So, as I mentioned before, we are not a recruiter and we do not have any special deals with any schools. We're not trying to funnel you into one school in Thailand just to make, £100 finder's fee or recruitment fee off the back of, you taking our course. What we do, however, is we do have a network of recruiters and employers in certain countries. Some places are more popular than others, as you'll probably understand. So we've tended to just make inroads in certain places. And in some cases, if you ask us to do it, we will happily introduce you to regional recruiters. But that's about as far as we take it in terms of recommending you a place to apply, because we're not here to twist your arm or to make you choose one job over another. Instead, we give you the information that you need, the tools that you need to be able to decipher and differentiate between different job offers and pick the one that's right for you. As I said, introducing to recruiters is something that we are able to do, but we prefer not to just try and direct people to the same job, because every single individual has individual goals. Someone's telling me that says, Tom, I want to work in Thailand. Well, in Thailand, you can work in a school by the beach, or you can work in a school up in the mountains. If I just point you in the direction of one particular recruiter in Thailand, you may end up working in a place that's not quite right for you. You might hate the beach. I mean, who hates the beach? But you never know. You might hate the beach and have preferred it in the mountains or whatever. Same goes for Colombia. Colombia is a very diverse country. The capital city, Bogota, is 19 degrees, cloudy and a bit rainy all years round. The city that I live in, just 3 hours west, as you can probably see, I'm a little bit warm. It's about 32 degrees outside today. Lovely nature, hummingbirds, rivers, waterfalls, all of that. But if I just pushed you in the direction of one school, that would be limiting you in terms of the experience you could potentially have. So all of our job finding support is based on what you want to get out of the experience. And even if you don't know what that is right now, we will help you discover the answers to those questions and point you in the right direction. Hopefully that's clear. When it comes to teaching, when it comes to teaching experience time, is that time since gaining your certificate or time spent teaching? If you need 2 years experience, would you add up 12 weeks here plus 6 months there? Very, very good question, Holly. Yeah, I mean, it depends really how the type of jobs that you have and how intermittent the breaks are. For example, if you work 2 full school years and you have a contract for 2 years at a school, that's generally going to be looked at as 2 years of experience. If you spend 2 years moving from institute to institute and there's big gaps between it because you move from country to country or whatever it might be, then that's where employers are going to look at the kind of the fact that you've got more of a list of jobs during those last 2 years, and actually maybe they might actually tot it up to make sure that add up the two. But 2 years experience as a teacher working at, for example, a school or an institute, even if you haven't spent exactly 2 years, 24 months teaching, then people are going to review that differently. I can't speak for how every school is going to perceive that, but I would say generally common sense here is that if you worked for a place for 2 full contract years, even if you had some holidays or time back home, provided the contract was that length, that counts as experience. Another question here from Mia or Maya. Apologies if I'm getting it wrong. I'm sure I got it right with at least one of those. Can I study in my second year of university and teach TEFL online? Absolutely. Yeah, this is very, very common. A lot of people take our course during their time at university. I always recommend that because at the moment, for those of you that are at university, which I think is probably all of you, you are in the mode of studying, you are in the mode of advancing and progressing and getting things done. I promise you, I've done this myself. You can have all the best intentions in the world in terms of studying something, doing this or that. Once you finish university, there's quite a good chance that you're either going to want to get stuck into traveling or stuck into working, and then you're into something new. And the kind of the discipline and the kind of mental framework that you have to learn something new does dissipate a little bit. Time at university is a really good just time to integrate the TEFL course into what you're doing. I would say a very high percentage of the people that study with us at the moment are at university and they're able to integrate it absolutely fine into their studies based on the fact, as I said, that it's self-paced. You put in what you can when you can. When it comes to teaching online, yes, absolutely, that is an opportunity because once you have that TEFL qualification, you are then able to access the world's teaching job market. Again, something we would help you do. And the beauty of teaching online, as I mentioned, you set a schedule, you decide when you want to work or how much you want to work. If you've got classes during the day and you just want to do some teaching in the evening, sure enough, your evening is going to be someone else's morning, etc. And that enables you to do that to fund either your studies or your spending money whilst at university. Really, really great thing to do. So Maya, if you'd like to discuss that in a bit more detail, I would highly recommend dropping me an email, contact@precisiontefl.com. As I said, you will receive an email from us after this anyway, which you can just reply to, and it goes to the same inbox. But yeah, studying TEFL and then online teaching fits so well when it comes to university studies. We also have people doing their master's degrees, and we have someone actually doing a PhD as well, integrating all of this into that world. No bumps, no problems whatsoever. Very good question. Another question from Holly. Can you talk us more through what the 120-hour course looks like? Yes, absolutely, Holly, with pleasure. So the course itself is broken up into 12 different modules, 132 classes overall, if I am right in saying that. As I mentioned, it's self-paced, so it's not like there's a timeline or a deadline to move from module to module. You work through it at a pace that suits you. The course is made up of videos, audio, multimedia, reading, coaching sessions, and that just generally kind of makes a kind of very diverse and dynamic learning experience. The course isn't all about teaching techniques. It's not like you're going to spend 120 hours learning about just how to operate in the classroom. A big chunk of the course is also about how we understand our students, how we understand their goals, their motivations, their preferences, so that we don't go into the classroom with a preconceived idea that teaching is painting by numbers, because it's not. It's about knowing the people in front of you and knowing how to select different teaching techniques to teach them. So all of that, plus lesson planning, plus classroom management, plus some cultural awareness, all of that is integrated across and spread across the different modules. At the end of each module, there is an assignment that you have to complete, just a way that you demonstrate to us that you've absorbed the material. Don't worry, it's not pass or fail. There's no getting kicked off this course just because something was slightly undercooked. If something is just not quite up to scratch, maybe we would just kind of get together with you in an extra coaching session and discuss. But in most cases, very, very straightforward assignments. And those assignments are, in most cases, either written or voice recordings. That's to say, you'll be asked a question and you can either write a few hundred words in response or just record a few minutes of you talk. So if you're in university mode at the moment, having to do a lot of essays or theses or whatever it is, and the idea of an extra essay just makes you want to jump off a bridge, don't worry about that. You are able to record your answer, and that is something that a lot of people actually do, and it just makes kind of moving through assignments very, very fluid and easy. A few of the assignments, you have to record some videos just to demonstrate some teaching techniques. But again, they're all very, very manageable and just good ways to demonstrate the different knowledge that you have acquired. That's the course in terms of the organization, the way you move through it. And just again, just to repeat, we have people that kind of smash through it in 4 to 5 weeks. We have people that take a year, some people that put in loads during the summer, then disappear for a few months and come back to it. Whatever it is totally up to you. We're not going to be on your back telling you to get this done. We're going to be here to support you, here to help, here to be flexible, and just to take any stress out of your lives when it comes to TEFL qualified. Are you often the only teacher teaching the class? How does it work if there's a language barrier with the students? Two very good questions. Let's split them up. First one, are you the only teacher? That depends. In some schools, they will give you a teaching assistant. Usually the teaching assistant speaks the language of the students. Very, very helpful for some classroom management. If there's any like naughty kids or just people that are acting up, they tend to deal with that, handing out things, preparing materials, just the general kind of odd jobs that you need in the classroom, plus maybe some extra support from a teaching assistant. That definitely happens. But in a lot of cases, you will be the only teacher. That's not a bad thing whatsoever. During the course, you will learn, as I said, not just teaching skills, but also classroom management skills, and very, very straightforward and manageable. I personally prefer just working on my own in the classroom and have done since I started. But if you are more interested in having support, plenty of jobs that you can aim for where you will definitely almost certainly have a teaching assistant. Again, we can kind of advise on that. How does it work if there's a language barrier with your students? As I mentioned, the whole point of TEFL is that you use English as your teaching tool. Most students do not want their teacher in the classroom speaking the language that they already know, because it is a wasted opportunity for them to learn from someone who really lives and breathes the language. It's not just about the language you speak, but it's how you speak that language, because it's a very different thing from just watching someone on TV or in movies and then actually interacting with someone from the UK or from Ireland or from the US, from Canada, Australia, whatever. That's a really, really unique opportunity for a lot of people. Again, circling back to the fact that the demand is so high, some students may never in their lives ever had the opportunity until that moment to study with a teacher from the UK, as an example. So they want you to speak English. The whole point of TEFL is that you acquire the skills, knowledge, techniques to be able to use English as the teaching method, as a teaching tool or method. In my part, to kind of give you an overview, it's exactly the same process that children go through. They're introduced to a very simple context. They're introduced to language. It's very clear how that language connects to the context. And then they are given the opportunity to practice it with support, usually from their parents. I'm not saying that you're going to be doing nursery rhymes from Taiwan. There's definitely different ways of this, but the logic behind it is the same. It's introducing things gradually with lots of visual support, lots of contextual kind of clarity, and you build your students up to a certain level of proficiency. But crucially, you never need to use a word of their language. I have the luxury, I do speak Spanish, so if I ever get myself into real pickle, I can maybe use Spanish, but I prefer not to. But as I said, I've taught students from France, from Germany, from Japan, China, Brazil. I speak any of those languages all the languages associated with those countries, and I've had absolutely no problem teaching them. I can promise you that's the whole point of. So typically, do students usually, how does it work if I do not know their native language? So more or less touched on that. No problem if you don't speak the language of your students. That's the whole point of TEFL. Most students, because English is so widely spread, you know, music, movies, they make it all around the world, even though they're from English speaking countries. Even a tiny little country like the UK, popular movies and songs and whatever, they spread out everywhere. So most students have usually been exposed to English and will typically say that they're at zero when really actually they know quite a few words and recognize quite a few words. Probably in the case of, people from the UK, and we are typically similar languages, your average Colombian, let's say, probably knows more words in English than your average Brit knows in Spanish, I would say. So very, very few students come into the classroom at absolute zero. But if they are in at that level, that's actually something we dedicate an entire class to, how to teach students at absolute zero. So that's something you would know how to do. But in most cases, there's usually a base level. And it's not just always about teaching students that are beginners. In the TEFL industry, you can teach beginners, intermediate, advanced, and even very, very advanced. You can get people that sound like their English is near perfect, but crucially, it's not perfect. And you actually, that's where you come in to help them refine, tighten up, polish their English rather than learn it from scratch. If that sounds more interesting to you than teaching beginners, great. There's plenty of jobs, plenty of students out there waiting to teach them. You just need to know where to look. Again, that's where we come in. Another question from Holly. Thank you very much for your questions, Holly. You've put a few in here. Linking onto the idea of language barrier, there's certain jobs that require you to be bilingual, have more knowledge of the language. No, I've never found a TEFL job where they've required you to speak that local language. As I said, in the classroom, the desire of the students and the people owning the school or the industry or the institute rather, they want you to use English as the language. And often, more than often, members of staff at that place will speak English to enable you to navigate the kind of administrative side of life and the other things that come with it. But no, an expectation. As I said, the demand is so high that if they put the threshold of, we want an English teacher, but they must speak Thai. How many people from England or from Canada or from Ireland speak Thai and are TEFL teachers? I mean, it's just simply not going to be possible to have that kind of expectation in an industry where the supply and demand is so, imbalanced. Okay, another good question here. How does the course differ from CELTA? Very important that you know this, because you probably, if you're interested in this world, touched on or been exposed to some different qualifications that are out there. CELTA is something that is run by Cambridge English. It is a qualification that is an advanced teaching qualification. For that reason, it costs a significant amount more and takes a lot more in terms of the amount of time that's needed to actually get that qualification. And it's a job that, and it's a qualification that enables you to access particular kind of top rate teaching jobs. It's the qualification that people, in my experience, speaking with people that I've met and worked with in this industry, that people tend to transition to when they know they're really, really serious about teaching and they want to commit to a long time and they want to access a particular type of job. In most cases, 120-hour TEFL certificate with an accreditation behind it is the entry level certificate, the entry level qualification that enables you to get a huge amount of jobs. In my case, I only have the 120-hour TEFL certificate, and that has enabled me to find jobs, not just in Colombia. I've been offered jobs in Mexico, in Ecuador, in Madagascar, in South Korea, in China. I've turned down all of those jobs because I wanted to stay in Colombia. As I said, this kind of feels like home to me, but I'm regularly able to and easily find work if I need it, both online or in person. And that's just with a 120-hour TEFL course. So I would say generally when it comes to CELTA, even though it's definitely worth looking at, it's always good to know your options. CELTA tends to be the thing that people put that extra investment into extra time, and when they're a bit more certain that they know that teaching is for them. The entry level qualification is TEFL, 120 hours, and that's what you'll see on that job board that I shared with you. Oh, I think we've come to the end of the questions there. Before you all disappear, just a quick one to say thank you very much for taking the time to listen to me. As I said, you are going to... Oh, there's one more. Well, I'll finish what I'm saying, then I'll go back to it. You will receive an email from us at the end of this that will include sign-up instructions and a discount code that enables you to access the TEFL course, our TEFL course, at a special rate exclusively for webinar attendees. £199 for the next 7 days. That includes everything that I've mentioned, including the job finding support and guidance that comes after it. However, if you want to find out any more information or you want to discuss things, please do contact me. I love speaking to people, very passionate about this. I want to give you all the clarity and information that I possibly can. So please do let me know if you have any more doubts, you want to kind of dig into anything a bit more than happy to do that. Let's just quickly finish off with these questions there. Do you prepare your own lessons, or does the school provide you materials to teach? When it comes to working in a school will usually have, a school will have a curriculum, because for a school to exist, it must meet the requirements and standards of the local Ministry of Education. And what does that mean? They need to demonstrate what students are going to learn during the year and what materials are used to support that. A lot of schools buy the Cambridge English or British Council or a number of different books. It's the same, in a UK school. If you look at when we take our GCSEs or A levels, it's usually an exam. So that exam is linked to all the materials that people have learned in school during the year. Same goes for teaching English. All of these schools will have pre-prepared materials, a curriculum that's ready for you to teach. You are just expected to teach it. That doesn't mean, however, that you're just boring, having a boring life reading from a book. No, you know what you're expected to teach. And there may be some key things that are expected, learning outcomes that must be met, but how you teach it, any additional materials, videos, podcasts, newspaper cuttings that you bring into the classroom, that's totally up to you. Teaching is a very, very creative job. As long as you understand your students, their needs, their age, their preferences, then you get free reign in terms of bringing materials in to make that effective for them. The only situation where you would have to come up with absolutely everything is if you are a private tutor. That maybe initially for brand new teachers is a bit intimidating, but it is something that can be done. I did it after a few years of teaching. I got set up as a private tutor, so I kind of had a whole backlog of things that I already knew how to teach and things to turn to. But if those of you are interested in being a private tutor right from the get-go, again, you'll receive very, very good guidance and support in terms of that. But in most cases, for first-time teachers, you should expect to be told what it is you're expected to teach, and then you put your twist on it, as it were, to make sure that it is exciting, engaging, and relevant to your students. Finally, how long do we have to access the course? Well, the course is going to be on sale for for a very, very long time. But if you want to access it at the discounted rate, £199 rather than £349, so quite a big difference there, that's available for the next 7 days. So if you're interested in this, you want our support, you want to study with us, the next 7 days, that is your opportunity to save £150. As I mentioned, you will receive an email shortly after this. I might take a moment out of this office because I feel like good risk of melting, quite literally. But once I've done that, I will be sending out an email to only those of you that have attended, sign up instructions and discount code. And as I said, please, please, please do get in touch if you want to find out a bit more information. Okay, I will sign off now. Oh, there's another. This is amazing. One more question. How much support or contact can we expect once you've signed up for the course? Such as how frequently and what amount of time available? Are there any cons to doing TEFL teaching? 3 different questions there. In terms of the support, you're not expected to go looking for a job immediately after graduation. That's totally up to you. If you want to come back to us after a few months or a year or whatever it is, whilst we're still operating, we will still be providing that support for graduates. Whilst the company exists, you can count on that support. So um, I cannot put a definite timeline on it because, as far as we're concerned, we're not going anywhere. We plan to continue uh, growing and helping people realize and unlock all the different TEFL benefits. So yeah, don't worry. You're not expect there's no timeline or deadline in terms of that post graduation support. How frequently and what amount of time can be available? Not 100% sure in terms of that question, but in terms of the amount of time that we would put into helping you, well, we would have a one-to-one session where we would discuss the job or the idea or potential jobs you should go for, give you our ideas and things that you should take into account, and then we would be kind of keeping in touch with you to see how you get on. It may be the case that you attend that session and go, ah, you know what, I'm going to do this in a year, or you may crack on and start applying for jobs immediately after the call. You keep us in the loop. Anything that comes up, anything that you want advice on, anything that you kind of want to know what question to ask, that's where then we would be in touch. Some of it would be done by email, some of it would be done on calls. It totally depends on the situation. In my case, I'm more than happy to speak with people on one-to-one calls. I spend a lot of time with my computer. It's really, really nice to actually connect with people and chat with people. That's part of the experience for me. So again, it's not something I can quantify or put a certain number on, but we want you to go off and find a job and enjoy it and send us loads and loads of pictures. And that's exactly what that's what we get out of this. That's the joy that we get out of this. Seeing all of you actually go on and experience the different things, for example, that I have. So it really depends on the different situation. Are there any cons of doing TEFL teaching? I'm not really sure how to answer that really, because there are probably loads of cons, because whilst you're TEFL teaching, you're not training to be an AI programmer. I guess there are certain things like homesickness and culture shocks that maybe could be seen as a con, but I think any challenge that comes around with TEFL usually is an opportunity for growth. So cons, I wouldn't say I have experienced any cons when it comes to TEFL teaching. Challenges, yes, but in everything that you do in life, there are going to be challenges. Anything that's new, anything that's worthwhile, there are going to be, things that you have to overcome, work out how to get past. But all of these things are very, very manageable and realistic. And, as I said, they contribute to your growth as a person. So cons, no. Opportunities for growth, absolutely. And again, if anyone would like to speak with me about what that might involve, more than happy to discuss that kind of thing offline. As I said, you'll be receiving an email. One of the things that is also available to all of you, not just during the course, but or after the course, but actually before the course, is you're more than welcome to book one-to-one meetings with me, calls where we just chat through your ideas and how you're feeling about TEFL, even before you sign up for anything. That's just something that you can do on our website. You can book a call with me, or you can just drop me a message and I'll send over a link to my calendar. I'm always more than happy to make time for people. As I said, and I'm sure this has come across in this, I am absolutely in love with this industry, with my job, with the fact that I have worked with so many amazing people over the years in terms of TEFL training, continue to work with so many people that are signed up with us at the moment. Every day I get to speak with people and help them out. It is absolutely the magic when it comes to this for me. So speaking to you before you then go on a sign up is absolutely part of it for me, and more than happy to do that. Okay, famous last words. I think that is the final question. I've said that 2 times and someone's jumped in with something, but I'm going to cap it there because I think that is probably good to let all of you go. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day, your evening, for taking the time to listen to me and to find out about this industry. As I said, the door, both digitally and physically, is open to speak with me. Drop me an email, contact@precisiontefl.com, precisiontefl.com. If you'd like to look at our website, you'll also find a link to my calendar on there and loads of information about the course and other things that we're doing. 3rd of June, 7 p.m. UK time, TEFL in Colombia, a very Colombia centric webinar, all about a program, specific pathway that we have here in Colombia. Finally, keep an eye out for that email, the discount code, the sign up instructions, the opportunity to sign up and take our course at a significantly reduced rate. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a lovely evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. And I hope to see some of you signed up and studying with us very, very soon. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.